recording's on. Try it again. Go sweep out the rooms of your heart to be the home of the one, purified from cells, mukta kimala, afu ala. The last two again. Mukta kimala, afu ala. All right. So we'll speak about that song in just a moment, but I wanted to welcome everyone, and we'll start with a light invocation for today, and we'll go from there. Let's see. I have to go one more here. Beloved, give me light in my heart, and light in my hearing, light in my eyesight, and light to my right, and light to my left, and grant me light from above, and light from underneath, and give me light in front of me, and light from behind, and increase my light. And I want to also share with you the moon card again, and just say a few words about it today and what we spoke about, which was, we were in the song. The song is from Shabastari, and I will share that with you.
Who was Shabastari?
He was a poet from God knows when. Long time ago.
A mystic
poet. And this song is about sweeping out the rooms of the heart, and I will share the whole poem with you later. I can't show the moon and the poem at the same time. But it's the word Muntakim is one of the names of the beloved, of the one, and it speaks to, some people will say it means to avenge. When our friend Neil Douglas Klatsadi, he researched it, he said that it actually has no actual meaning based on that except for how it was used culturally. And he said that it actually means to sweep out, a very vigorous, like, letting go of things inside. And so I love this moon. It's that remembrance again that when we sweep out, we become the clarity of what is around us, like the stars and the sun. And that is what the light is that shines through us.
And when we're sweeping out from the Sowork perspective, we're not getting rid of anything. It's like when we ask the different inner selves to step aside. So again, the heart is the mirror, and so the selves are all busy in the monkey mind and going over. So we're sweeping them out gently or strongly in this case. We're saying, no, this is our time to be receptive, to get in touch with the lunar light, the light that receives.
I think I'll have to come to the poem next time. Let's see if I can find it again, because what happens is if I stop it, it disappears. So it may have disappeared for the rest of the time. We shall see. Yeah, it's not. Here it is. Okay, so I'll share one more time and show you the poem. And I'll just read it. The travelers on the path to God or the one know where they've come from, where they're going, and they just go, purified from self. And we're really talking about it as selves And what that means is being unblended, no longer identified with all the parts inside. Like the flame from smoke, why don't you sweep out the rooms of your heart and prepare them to be the home of the beloved? When you leave, the one can enter. Freed from self, the beloved reveals its beauty. Purified from all impressions, the real self outgrows differences. Knower and known become one. So that's really the action of the moon. That's so in this whole exploration of what's the archetype of the moon isn't shining to shine, to to show itself off a little bit. That's the sun. The sun has the archetype of, I'm going to show you what I can do. The moon is emptying out so that it can reveal what is really there, that light that's there, that's present all the time. So that's why the moon is a particularly lovely card for me, just because it's so much, it makes me understand what lunar really means, which is the reflection of all that is, as opposed to the making it, creating it.
The opposite energy in a way. And the other metaphor that's used in spiritual literature and poems is the dewdrop, which is clear, and then the light can just shine through the dewdrop at any time. That's dewdrops on a lotus leaf. If you ever gone out on a beautiful morning, I went out a couple years ago, and there's dew, and the morning sun was just reflected. It was like the moon. It was just clear. So again, we're getting that clarity inside, and we don't always have that perfectly, and that's fine too.
That's
There's
right.
so often a little dust on our hearts, and that's something to be something of the spiritual beings on a human path.
That's right.
To be soft and gentle about.
But we brought in Munchakim to help us sweep it, and then we brought in Afu, which is the blowing away, like at the very end of a big fire, and all that's left is the ashes. The Afu is like that aspect of the divine that just allows everything to blow away. So anyway, with that, we're going to begin with the induction. So if you're willing and can, go ahead and stand and allow your feet to feel that lovely Mother Earth underneath you. And just breathe for a moment or two, feeling that sense of your feet connecting to the floor. Breathing in and out of the nose. And in this way, we're asking for the help of the earth to sift, and because the earth is so good at sifting, of really letting all of the different nutrients and all the different parts that come onto the earth, it sifts them through, it creates this compost, this soil that is rich, as it is allowed to go in time to just become more and more filled with what is present. So we're getting more and more present with this breath in, rich full breaths in, rich full breaths out, and we're going to sift.
In and out through the nose.
And we're going to allow our feet to sift, especially on the exhale. So as we breathe in, we're breathing in that energy into our legs right now, particularly. And we're sifting it out. We bring our leg close to us, and then we take it out to the side. So it's like this spreading. It's like a sifting motion. Breathing in again, that energy of the earth, sifting out anything that is no longer needed in our legs. You can think of it as really letting our legs become this conduit for the energy of the earth, for presence. So that we're just aware of our feet, our ankles, our knees, our legs. Not with any overlays. And if there's overlays, ask all the parts of us who think about our legs or thinks there's something wrong or whatever it is to just step aside. And we're letting this sifting motion come all the way up as we breathe in, all the way up into our hips and our genitals and this whole first, second chakra area. And then we sift with that to the right and to the left. And we bring that full breath in again. Every inhale, every exhale, we sift out any leftover projections onto our whole sexual organs, onto how we are sexually. We just ask those cells to step aside, breathing in new life from the earth to become present with this part of our body. That's the quality of earth, is to become present, to be grounded, to be here. And then letting that sifting process come up even further up into our solar plexus, our hara, that whole area that can become the power center or the control center. So all the parts of us that want to be in control, we're going to let them sift back and forth and ask them to just step aside right now, so that we can just feel into and become more present with this whole lovely part of our body that houses so many organs deep inside, so much tissue that allows us to live. And letting the breath come all the way up into the heart and the upper chest. We're going to sift out that area too. Sifting out any old hurts, any old thoughts, places that we've kind of held inside. Asking them to step aside right now. Any waves we might have felt taken advantage of or disrespected. And we just let them sift down through the earth to become compost right now. Compost for our bodies, compost for the whole earth. And bringing it up into the shoulders and the arms and the hands and the fingers. Let that whole appendage sift it out. On the exhale, and just let it be breathed into on that inhale. All the ways that we hold on to what we want, what's right, what's best. Letting go of those parts, asking them to just step aside as you sift it down into the compost. And coming into your neck and your head, especially the lower part of your head that connects to your neck with your mouth. So you can let your jaw and your neck sift through, breathing it all the energy from earth in. And let it sift back and forth. Any words we've said that we wanted to take back. Any words we haven't said that we keep thinking we should have. Just letting them go, asking those parts of us to step aside right now. Composting them. And let the breath come all the way up into the whole head. And let that everything in the head sift all the way down from the very top of your head. can even make that humming sound on the exhale. Anything about how you look, how you're supposed to be, any projections onto you, letting go of that. And taking in the fullness, the richness of each new breath to become more present, to become more grounded. And then letting this happen throughout the whole body. Breathing in the rich earth breath and sifting out with the whole body anything else that's no longer needed. And one more breath like that. And letting us settle in, just feeling all of the body, feeling as present as we are right now, like how much of that moon structure are we right now? It's all about our presence. How much of us is here? Are we a crescent, a new moon, 3/4, a full? So just feel into where you are right now. No judgment, just being aware. This is what's filled out right now. And let's come into the water breath to help us. This is another wonderful element that really can help to sift through only with water. It's to flow, because water changes through moving, through flowing. So breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, through pursed lips.
To wash away.
Purified from selves. That's what we're doing. We're letting the water, imagining that the water is coming down from the top of our head and it's pouring over us like rain or like a big wave. And we can let our whole self be washed for a couple of breaths with the water. We can imagine everything's washing down. And then we're going to join with the water, with the movement, the flow that happens, where how water allows itself to purify. And we're going to start with imagining the very, very top of our head and the crown center, and we're going to let it turn just a little bit at the top of the crown, letting that water come in and like a little whirlpool at the top of our heads on the exhale. We breathe in that water, that purification, and we let the top of our heads turn just a tiny bit. And we let the water come in even more to our whole head, and we let our whole head turn. You can turn to the right and to the left, whatever feels good, just letting that wonderful sense of the flow, the turning that happens with the water. Just letting that happen naturally in our bodies, and then breathing in the water again, letting it come all the way into our neck, and really feeling that turn in the neck. And letting the water come down all the way to the shoulders this time on this next breath, and letting the shoulders turn. They can go to the back, they can go to the front, they can go both ways. Being with the flow of the water. Asking all the selves that are holding us back, that say we shouldn't be so free, asking them to step aside and for now find a place in the water for them to play. And then letting it come all the way down into our arms and our hands and our elbows and our wrists, so that we're turning our wrists and our elbows and our whole arm. We can swim. Letting the water flow. It's inside of us, it's outside of us. It's purifying us. Letting go of all those places that in our arms that want to give and receive. And right now it's just letting us feel the flow of the water. And coming into our upper chest and our hearts. Just let that area, imagine it's like turning around, it's moving, it's flowing. Even if you can't articulate that part of your body, just imagine it. Your heart is flowing around and around, and it's really making space and room, purifying for it to no longer hold on to all this sadness, all this discontent, hopelessness, helplessness, even to having to feel happy. It's just letting it flow back out into the rest of the water. It's being held for us right out there in the water. We don't have to totally let it go. We can just let it stay right outside. And then coming down into the solar plexus and the hara area, again letting that area flow. Rather than sifting, we're flowing it, letting all the waters in that area with all the intestines and letting it flow through this area, letting go of anything that's no longer needed. Any control, any kind of desire for having to do it our way. Letting it flow out in the water. It can flow right beside us, but it doesn't have to be inside of us right now. And letting the water, with each inhale, really come and invigorate now the whole hips and the genital area, the coccyx, and flowing with those hips, just like the water. Letting go of anything that's in the way of just being yourself in this area. No need to be anybody else. No need to put on anything of how you should be sexually. And knowing that you're safe right here, right now. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, flowing with the water. And then letting the water come all the way down to your legs. And you can feel that's the upper legs, and you might want to let the upper legs move a little bit around in the sockets. Into the knees, into the ankles, letting them all flow through. The water's flowing, moving to purify. We're becoming part of this big, huge ocean. So letting the water come in again, Breathing it in through the nose and then letting the whole body feel that sense of being out in the middle of the ocean and just being that wave that comes up and goes down. Letting your whole body be involved with that beautiful flow of the just being a wave that's there one moment and then dissolves back into the big ocean. Just like our thoughts, just like all these different selves inside, they come up, they get reabsorbed back into the flow. And then settling down, coming into that calm water, breathing in, still that water breath one more time. Just like the water slowly running out, turning off the faucet, so to speak. We're going to come to stillness, and as we come to stillness, we just feel, again, where are we in our mooniness, in this moon? How connected are we to our body and how it can continually change and flow? And then we begin to call upon the fire, the light, as we breathe in through the mouth, through pursed lips, out through the nose. And so we're letting this fire in. And as we let this fire in, we notice that fire, this sun element, creates almost like a vibration in the body because it's quite powerful. It's energy. It's there all the time, but when we focus on it, when we breathe in that energy, we can feel it. And then we just are letting it go right now in that exhale. A couple more breaths to just really invigorate, to feel that sense of the light and the fire inside. And now let's bring it into our legs. And on the exhale, we're going to flick them out and we're going to let them shake. Because what happens is we get stuck energy, these different cells that get stuck with having been angry or frustrated, and then we don't have any way of moving it through. So we let ourselves feel it in our legs on that inhale, and then we flick it out, we shake it. We're not getting rid of it, we're releasing that which is no longer needs to be held. Just like the deer shake. And letting that fire energy come all the way up into the hips. You can feel it really gently vibrating it, and then shake it out, flick it, and shake. Letting go of any energy that got stored there around anger, fear, frustration. Revitalizing it with that new breath in. Letting go of anything that's in the way of letting in that new light, that new fire with each breath. Breathing right into this area of the hips with each inhale. And then letting the inhale be connected into the solar plexus. And shaking that area out like you're Santa Claus. A bowl full of jelly here. You can make noise. Any anything that's gotten stuck here, especially around anger, frustration, fear. Prejudice, things that you don't like about other people, splitting, separating them out from us.
And you're muted, so if you want to make anger or growling or anything to express that.
That's right, you can do it. I'm letting it come all the way up into your heart and your upper chest. Letting that flick out, shake out. All the ways that we feel justified to be hurt. That's also a form of anger. It's like, they did this to me. And we've held on to it. We never got to shake it out. To let those cells know that we're here and it's okay. They can let go into the light right now. And then breathing in all the way to the shoulders and the arms. And flicking them out and shaking them. Maybe revenge feelings in the arms, wanting to get back. Wanting to take. All okay? We're just asking them to step aside, to let go right now. They can come back after we finish. And letting the light now go all the way up into the throat and the head. Being filled with all of that light there. Shaking out anything that's in the way, asking those parts to step aside, the ones that have told us it's not okay to be so big, to just let ourselves feel this light. We'll get in trouble. We ask them, we know that they're scared, but they step aside right now, it's safe. And letting the whole body be filled with this light on the inhale, and shaking out the whole body. Couple more breaths in, all shaken out on the exhale. One more breath. And on this last one, we're going to settle in a little bit, make it a smaller breath. Begin to feel the vibration, the energy in your body right now, as well as that maybe the fluidness, the flow of the water, and the substantiality of just being present right here, right now, with everything that's happening in your body. And then we're going to begin to do the last piece, which is the air element. Really, it's the afu that we spoke to before. So breathing in, we're going to let that air, that airiness come in, not just to our lungs, but to every cell, creating some space. And then with each exhale, we're going to really let ourselves begin to expand out, especially in the head. So letting go with each as afuing, we're letting all the last pieces of all of our thoughts. We're asking all those parts of us that are thinking and planning and trying to figure things out, we're asking them to step aside right now as we breathe out and let that airiness Let us breathe out imagine blowing away anything that's no longer serving us in our heads, in our hearts, in our bodies. Like a wind blowing through us. Making us holy. One more big air breath. And then coming to rest. Whatever is left of us right now. And just really observing that. Now, having been letting the air blow through us and letting the fire come and burn away, vibrate us into more subtle condition, the water flowing inside, and the earth creating some substantiality, some ground, some presence, and see what's left. This is the quality of ether, when all of the elements have been integrated. Then there's the possibility of becoming the moon. So gently find your seat. Good place to sit.
As you sit, just imagining your chest soft and porous, and your breath, the breath of the One, the breath of infinity that comes with your breath, just washing as the chest is soft and porous, just flowing in and out, washing the sacred space of your heart, breathing in, through, around. Just letting the breath be nice, rich, slow, full inhalation, nice, rich, slow, full exhalation. Gentle, but like a gentle wave at the ocean that just gently flows in and flows out. And as you continue to bring your awareness to the sacred space of your heart, just listen to these words as we move even more deeply into our inner world, into our inner lives. We invoke the One whose body is the cosmos of the galaxies and our own bodies, whose mind courses through our thinking, and whose ecstasy arouses our acts of glorification, whose personality is customized as our personalities, whose presence is always here, whose consciousness is focalized as our consciousness, and whose ultimate reality is beyond our thinking mind's reach. So just continue to gently open to the sacred space, the garden of your heart. And as you become receptive, there may be selves that try to figure out or remember, that's fine, but you could ask them to step aside, just opening, becoming receptive to the sacred space of your heart. And perhaps there's just a felt sense of ground or security or nourishment or peace or being held or contained, being in a womb. Perhaps there's sensations, perhaps visual images arise of a place of nourishment, of being, of rest. And reminding any selves that are busy, nothing to do, nowhere to go, you can invite them into the sacred space of your heart. And we're beginning with just a time of rest, inviting all the selves to rest, to relax, nothing to do, nowhere to go. And perhaps in the sacred space of your heart, there's a fragrance or the feel of a breeze or the warmth of sunlight or a gentle taste of sweetness. But just taking a few moments in silence to open to the sacred space of your heart. And it's fine, you can tell the cells if nothing happens, just being receptive, just having that intent is so much. But bringing the awareness through the breath to the sacred space of your heart. Opening to your physical heart, opening to your spiritual heart. Remembering the physical heart, the electric field is 60 times more powerful than the brains, and the magnetic field 5,000. So really just opening, there's a natural draw as you gently bring your awareness, your attention, your focus of conscious self to your heart. And we're practicing this receptivity of the archetype of the moon, being receptive to the sacred space, to the heart. And gently, any selves that come up, any parts, just gently asking them to step aside for these few minutes. You can invite them attuned to open to the heart also if they wish. It's like with your inner selves, it's like you're a whole family of friends and you're just going out on a beautiful night to just lie comfortably on a nice blanket. It's a warm night and you're all just looking at the moon, just becoming receptive to the moon. Being the moon, the crescent moon. And you can continue if you wish, just opening, being receptive to the garden of the heart. Or when you're ready, using my voice as a guide, you may find yourself moving faster or slower. When you're ready, with all love and respect, opening to high self, to that place of self energy, this point of contact with the source, with infinity. Whether you just hold that intention and whether you feel the presence or perhaps see a wise being or an animal ally or a sphere of light, or feel the presence of high self, the angel of your being, the beloved, that's always with you, holding this larger self that's there present, holding you, guiding you. And we open for a time of communion, a time of guidance, a time of dialogue, just starting with this time of receptivity again as we're with the moon card, gently being receptive to high self. Letting high self, you know you're receptive, you want to reflect the light, the presence. Just starting with communion, reflecting, opening as you breathe in the blessings of high self, becoming receptive and becoming receptive to high self in whatever way, or with the intent or whatever way high self comes today, and breathing back love and gratitude. You might even become receptive to all the times throughout the course of your life, from cradle to where you are now, that there's been that guidance, whether it's just a pull or a small voice or a figure in a dream or a waking vision, but where you felt that inner guidance, that spirit of guidance come to you, just being reflective, open, receptive, perhaps to just remembering times when that guidance came to you and directed your life. And then as you're ready, beloved high self, I ask for your guidance, whether it comes as an awareness, through your voice, an image, a feeling in the body, a dream, or a thought later today, on how to empty, how to become more receptive. How do I embody this archetypal energy of the moon, this receptivity? Help me understand, help me deepen into the practice of being receptive, of being the moon. And with love and respect, we just join in the breath of unity with you, feeling your support as we just open. Just imagine you're in the center of the garden and around you, just opening to whatever parts, whatever cells are present. And you may know them through sensations in your body, thoughts, feelings, images, or behaviors. Just open and just becoming receptive. And this, as we are working with the moon energy, we're not even so much going to begin to work with any of the different cells or parts that may be there, but we're just noticing. And if you're blended with one, just stepping into the center, asking that one to step into the circle around. You can imagine just bringing your awareness to whatever feeling or thought or tension in the body and staying with that a while, being receptive. And then another, and just noticing the different parts, the different cells, pulls, states, energies that are in your inner garden right now. As you become aware of each, you can smile and bring curiosity and love and compassion to each self that's there. As you're just becoming more and more conscious self, as you unblend, as you gently sweep those to the circle around you, so you can appreciate each one. You can formally welcome each one, whether it's a hurt or an anger or a joy or an ecstasy or a grief. Welcoming each at the door, as Rumi says. Welcoming each into this circle. But you're in the center of this circle. If you begin to find yourself blending, another way to sweep is to just step back into the center, realizing, oh, I'm being pulled into a different self. I'll just step back into the center, knowing that you always have the support of high self to just be in the center. And then just with all love and respect, taking one last glance, one last sensing of all the parts, cells, energies inside. And then inviting them to breathe with you, to breathe with high self into the breath of unity. You're there in the center, they're around you, and high self is everywhere, infusing everything in and without, holding in a beautiful dome, all of you. And as we're ready, we'll take a bow with the sacred sound, whoo, which is just the sound of the potential of everything, of the cosmos, of infinity. We'll bow once with that to our inner lives. Take another deep breath and we'll come up bowing to our outer lives. And you can invite all the different parts to just breathe this and to bow down to recognize our inner and outer worlds, how they're active in our inner life and how we then see them and experience them in our day, active in our outer lives. And sometimes graceful ways and in sometimes not such graceful ways, but that's part of our human path. Taking a breath in. Another deep breath in. And then as we do in soul work, you can just stay there, quietly reflecting on your journey, like a dream, reflecting so we don't lose it, it doesn't fade away. And or you might want to write something or make a little image or whatever helps you remember and reflect on your journey. As we're exploring this archetypal energy of lunar light.